always feared is coming.
The anti-god.
To be fair, the anti-god is not a thing I've always feared. Here are things I have long feared. Mashed potatoes that are dyed a non-white color. Small dogs that bark constantly. Candy bars that have long names. People who have fish as pets but still eat fish sometimes for food. Wax candy where you're supposed to bite off a bit of wax and then drink a micro teaspoon of sugar liquid. Public pools. Priests in public spaces. Gyro. You know what? I'm gonna stop there for now because I think I've made my point.
Self-aware, self-learning, truth-eating digital parasite.
Me, Mission Impossible 8 is going to Wreck-It Ralph 2. Oh no!
That is not me! You're talking to the entity!
Whoever controls the entity controls the truth.
Previously on The Entity. As you can see, this movie has a lot of explaining to do. Shit, I forgot how the last movie ended.
First, I want to thank you for a lifetime of devoted and unrelenting service.
Time is of the essence and shit. Let's waste a bunch of time revisiting scenes from the previous 7 movies, because this is the last one, and we need to properly send this franchise off with a bit of a tribute. Nostalgia rules, duty rules. Also, there's so much footage here that is obviously from a movie, and that the MI bosses wouldn't have access to or even know exists. So is he watching movie clips like we are, or is it still a static screen with the presidential seal on it?
In the months since you evaded capture in Austria, every corner of cyberspace has been infested by the truth-eating, parasitic AI known to us as the Entity.
Why did it take months for a parasitic, truth-eating AI to take over all the shit?
Under its influence, digital information has been corrupted worldwide. Nations and people no longer know what to believe.
This is obviously bad, but the truth was sent packing a long time ago, around the time of Pizzagate.
If anyone knows the whereabouts of this code, it's this man.
I think putting this on a VHS tape was a smart idea, but how the f did they edit this thing? They would have had to find an analog system with analog footage, because the entity could have manipulated it if they were using anything digital. And I don't think they've got that capability, because nearly everything here would be from a digital source.
Please, surrender.
Since Ethan is basically a wanted man, I would love to know how this VHS tape was delivered to him. Any courier the government would send to give him the tape would almost certainly be tailed. Any prearranged drop-off place would also be monitored. It's honestly shocking there's not a beacon of some sort on this thing that gives the government an idea where he is. Come through here, Ethan. Hey, this is neither here nor there, but have you met Dexter Morgan?
You will betray us because he spared your life.
This movie really likes flashbacks for some reason. Like, never before has this series tried to make certain you know what happened in previous movies. When they introduced the White Widow, Max's daughter, in Fallout, they didn't flash back to Vanessa Redgrave to drive home the point. They relied on you knowing who the f that was, even though Max was only in the first movie. You have no infrastructure. The entity is manipulating everything digital. How the f did you plan and execute this prison escape without the usual tools at your disposal? Are there no other guards or any other authority figures walking around this prison? Are there not any security cameras watching this hallway? It amazes me after 30 years of Mission Impossibling that Ethan shows his face anywhere when he can just wear a mask of any asshole he chooses.
I really appreciate you coming, but you shouldn't be here.
Jesus, he didn't even know she was here? What was he gonna do if she didn't show up?
Gabriel's got a job for you, Hunt.
Oh, I see. Ethan did the dumb thing by not wearing a mask so he could advance this movie's plot.
A digital covert operative.
We suspect this mystery virus was only intended to sabotage the Podcover. Instead,
It tricked the crew into sinking themselves.
Boy, I sure do love exposition that is given to me by 3 different people in 12 seconds, combining flashbacks and ongoing dialogue. It gives everyone a chance to say something and feel important. Yay!
The two halves of which were held by the Sevastopol's captain and XO.
They were pulled from the drifting pack ice by Inuit fishermen.
The Inuit fishermen are mentioned twice in this movie, and the only thing we hear is they found the keys. So who did they go to after they found them? Did the Russians try to ask them questions? Did they give someone the keys, or did someone use force? What happened to them after that?
They kidnapped my wife. Stealing the rabbit's food was the only way I could get her back.
Bravo for bringing Mission Impossible 3's plot back to relevance. But the whole beginning of this movie feels like a total mess. This whole flashback part could have been a cold open to this movie. A perfect beginning after the ending of Dead Reckoning. Instead, it begins with what is a self-tribute to the franchise and a jailbreak that leads to Ethan stupidly showing his face at the US Embassy in London and ungodly heaps of flashback exposition.
And if you don't find that sub in the next few days...
What if it's deeper than Titanic? Do you remember the last time a rush job marine vehicle tried to go to Titanic's resting spot?
It's the end of the world as we know it.
Furthermore, that's me in the corner. That's me in the spotlight, losing my religion. Additionally, stand in the place where you live, now face north.
42's cyanide capsule.
Medic! Bring the defibrillator.
Yes, by all means, take off Ethan's cuffs and bring the defibrillator to cure cyanide poisoning. Ethan only prevails here because everyone, including Gabriel, just assumed he wasn't bluffing about the suicide false tooth. He bit down and started foaming, and no one stops to think, what if it's just an Alka-Seltzer? Yet another Mission Impossible, yet another torture room fight. It's actually boring at this point. So boring, I'm surprised they didn't add new DNA to it to create an Indominus TRF to attract new fans. Apparently the filmmakers realized how boring this fight was, and they left it up to Grace to watch it instead.
What?
Skip! This whole catacombs section is infuriating. They catch him, but he runs away because one of the good guys shoots at him. They spot him again, but he's on the other side of bars. Why are there bars? Is this a prison? This feels like Fallout, where they did the face swap fake out in a basement-y place, not unlike this place, and I hate this place and its maze that everyone knows, but no one knows, and gah! None of you have any spy gadgets that can cut through metal on you right now? Seriously? Door opens magically, and they just all walk through that shit without any single one of them saying, hey, maybe this is a trap.
Resist me and I'll make you pay dearly.
Aren't you already threatening to kill the whole world, though?
You know what humanity must do to change their destiny. You know they cannot stop the inevitable.
I'm gonna be honest, those seem like conflicting statements. If the destiny can't be stopped, why does humanity gotta change? God, grammar is a bitch in generic action sequels.
In 4 days, they will face their final reckoning.
Roll credits. I guess this is more vision the entity is giving Ethan, where everyone launches their nukes at each other. And I'm just not sure how a piece of software wins if the entire planet is nuked, including, like, you know, the whole of the internet. You will have won, but what exactly will you have won? Ethan breaks out of the forced dream vision, and I bet now that he knows what the entity is planning, he will figure out a way to stop it. Joke's on the entity for sharing its plan too soon.
Is this real? Is this real?
To me, Ethan experienced nothing more than an elaborate IMF message that will self-destruct in 5 seconds. To Ethan, he's apparently been in the sensory deprivation tank that changed William Hurt into a primordial existence in altered states. In other words, I'm not sure the movie has conveyed the loss of reality Ethan is claiming to be experiencing right now.
You stay off the ice.
What I...
Ethan's just performing an exact scene from the Dead Zone at this point, and this warning to Grace also doesn't come back to haunt him in any meaningful way. Movie pretends there wasn't a car Ethan could steal to get to Luther faster because it needed a trademark Tom Cruise's running somewhere cliche. Luther keeps the poison pill for the entity around his neck instead of a way more secure place for maximum plot convenience. Man, taking this bomb down into this tunnel must have been a goddamn nightmare, considering the entrance to the tunnels was completely blocked with concrete barricades.
Whoever detaches that detonator is going to die.
At least you're taking a long-ass time to tell us this, because otherwise this movie might have been better. I mean, shorter. No, I mean better.
Gabriel needs me alive. He needs you to die, because you are the only one who can make another poison pill.
I seriously doubt that. I know that this series has propped up Luther as the best of the best tech experts, but isn't Benji a pretty good computer guy in his own right? It's almost like after they turned him into a field agent, they forgot that. Anyway, you're telling me in all the world there isn't one fucking tech whiz who can make a poison pill?
What are we gonna do? Retire? Go fishing?
I don't know. I was kind of hoping you'd disarm the bomb instead of talking, since last I checked you had 2.5 minutes left. Movie lies to us when it says that Ethan outran this destruction.
Your real name is Jim Phelps.
God damn it. This is exactly why the final chapters of successful franchises never seem to stick the landing. Let's make this character related to someone from the first movie. Let's make Rey take the name Skywalker at the end of Star Wars. Wait, did we remove a sin for that? I think we were trolling. I can't remember if we were trolling. Anyway, let's focus here. We did not need a connection to Jim fucking Phelps.
When you found out he had legal trouble, he was offered the choice.
This IMF members committed crimes and were given the choice thing was introduced in the last movie, after 6 movies of never mentioning it. Now, I guess every asshole in IMF committed some sort of crime and was given the choice, and I now consider it the midi-chlorians of the Mission Impossible franchise.
Your story had my father down as a traitor.
It wasn't just his story, though. He had video evidence via the camera glasses. That was the very moment your dad realized he'd been beat, you forgetful clod.
The entity, it wants you to hate me.
This is the second time Ethan said something like this in the movie, and I don't think nearly enough groundwork has been laid to show how much the entity has infected other people's lives. Yes, a little montage at the beginning made mention of the entity altering truth and reality and something briefly about followers, but nothing in this conversation suggests that Jim's motivations are due to being tricked by it. Ah, sudden Ron Swanson.
So this is the man who
broke into our own black vault and stole the list of our own spies, yes.
This section is yet another tribute to the franchise in a movie where time would seem to be a major factor. Is there any urgency in any of this?
killing the entity means the annihilation of cyberspace.
Well, I didn't know that. and I'm not sure cyberspace is super clearly defined, but if it stops a global nuclear war, I'm willing to give up the cyberspace.
3 days before it focuses the full force of its energy on the toughest, most secure defense system on the planet, ours.
I find it nearly impossible that the entity, as powerful as it has been shown to be, doesn't already have the nuclear codes of every country in the world at this point. Hell, it could even do it without telling everybody about it. Also, the idea that America has the toughest, most secure digital defense system on the planet.
It hasn't launched because it doesn't have total control. It needs the world's entire atomic arsenal to guarantee the desired outcome, total annihilation of humankind.
It's got India, Israel, North Korea, Pakistan, and France, which is roughly 800 nukes. I'm no expert, but it feels like bombing all the major cities and whatever else is left over would do a considerable amount of destruction, followed by the fallout and the nuclear winter. But maybe it's worried there are enough Bear Grylls in the world to take the power back after it's done.
She says you'll know what to do with this when the time comes.
I fucking hate when movies do this. It was the very laziest way to get your audience speculating and tease something, and I hate it. Dramatic key staring. Oh hey, it's the release date of the first Mission Impossible. I sure am glad Admiral Neely is a hardcore movie buff, or else this message would be meaningless.
We both lost someone we loved, all because no one in authority would take a risk.
So isn't it amazing that you needed to get on this carrier, which is run by someone the president knows personally, and that we have a personal connection that basically forces me to do whatever you want to do?
St. Matthew Island.
The Russians will know this.
Why haven't they just stormed the island already?
Because St. Matthew is a U.S. government installation.
This is another one of those everyone gets a line scenes, and it starts feeling like one of those Austin Powers sequences where people say lines until the movie cuts to someone else in a different scene to finish that person's sentence with a dirty punchline. Anyway, it's annoying as all
The fate of all life on Earth depends on us all meeting at the same place, same time in the frozen Bering Sea. With that,
yes, as the wise Anthony Hopkins said in a movie I can't remember, this isn't mission difficult, this is mission impossible. So therefore, absolutely ridiculously impossible scenarios are what these movies are about. But when you reach this kind of level, it actually stops being fun. Remember the Black Vault heist? That was ludicrous, but there was enough logic behind it that you could suspend disbelief, especially since the sequence is so fun. This relies purely on luck, and it has me wishing they could have come up with a different yet still impossible scenario where skills, brains, and resources tilt the luck factor back a notch.
The only submarine in range is the Ohio. An Osprey can get you there in 2 hours, but it won't have enough fuel to wait.
The last two movies tell the story of a Russian sub that's completely undetectable, a sub that blows itself up with its own missile, and a CIA guy being flown to a nearby sub under very difficult circumstances. Congratulations, Paramount, you remade The Hunt for Red October, or as I like to call it, the Ethan Hunt for Red October. Too bad you killed Jack Ryan in Fallout, or this could have been a real f***ing hoot.
If Bledsoe receives my command, if he believes it to be authentic.
There was a whole ass movie called Crimson Tide about how submarines have to receive authenticated messages in order to take drastic measures, so someone believing something to be authentic runs counter to my current understanding of submarine procedures.
You let Hunt go?
Oh, I thought she was going to keep this subterfuge up by finding someone willing to put on an Ethan Hunt mask and sit behind bars for a while so that nobody could have figured out he was going where he was going. But because she doesn't do this, Kittredge will be a monkey wrenched in the whole plan. And yes, I blame her for not thinking of all this because she was the director of the CIA in past movies and should know all the tricks. She's so concerned about someone stopping him and yet does the one thing that allows someone to possibly stop him. This is the kind of nostalgia I can get on board with. Donloe got sent to Alaska in the first Mission Impossible, and this is a perfect time to bring him back, giving him a happy life and further redemption.
This guy is a coding legend. He designed the CIA mainframe at Langley, the Black Vault.
Oh, maybe he could build a poison pill for the entity later. Maybe this whole mission depends on you not having to go back to Gabriel at all. Oh, I know that's not where they're heading, but it's a fun dream.
Can you help us?
I wish I could.
Jesus, did they rehearse this? I guess everyone saw Benji and the rest of the team walking towards the house, and then they told Donloe, we're gonna hide, but at some point they're gonna ask you for help. When you tell them you can't, that's when we'll reveal ourselves. I feel the same about this scene as much as I imagine the filmmakers do. Whatever.
Where are you, Ethan?
I have advocated for more Angela Bassett in all movies in which she's appeared for many years, but why do we need this scene? Okay, fine, the Ohio's location is classified to the people who live in this world, but why does it need to be classified to us?
Mister, if you want to poke the bear, oh, you've come to the right man.
This line reading deserves a send-off, but it also reminds me that this movie needed to have a lot more Tremel Tillman than it does.
You have 1 hour to build a drive.
I understand people being unreasonable, but how the f*** does this guy think that Donloe can build a goddamn floppy disk drive out in the middle of nowhere with spare parts?
We haven't tested the Mark 7 below 300 feet.
To conserve air, you'll need to make a fast descent, which means guaranteed HPNS.
Did that guy just say guaranteed achy penis? Also, if this mission wasn't impossible enough for you, they add even more impossible to it. You're in a buffet of impossible, a golden corral of impossible.
I'm gonna let you on a little secret, friend.
He's about to tell Benji he knows the coordinates and that there are no records of the submarine implosion left. The idea that these suspicious Russian secret forces wouldn't make Benji and Donloe build this stuff directly in front of them for this very reason is insane. Besides, are they not going to notice this low conspiratorial talking and wonder what the f that's all about?
I never told them about these backups.
Never told them. Why didn't they just find them and take them? If this was a cover-up and they're coming all this way to do that, wouldn't they want to take basically everything out of here? Seriously? This mission wasn't hard enough. You guys thought a double agent needed to be on the sub to knife attack him too? And now even the cabin gunfight needs to be made more difficult with a sudden fire. Jesus. If you want to know why this movie is f***ing 3 hours long, just, well, you can't see me, but I'm doing that thing where you gesture wildly at all the everything. I've never been able to take Benji seriously in any fight in these movies, especially not against a Russian special forces guy. And yet, he somehow does enough to be useful. You see, the thing about these fights is, I don't care. They're well choreographed, well acted, well stunted, well edited, but I don't care. And I think the higher the Mission Impossible movies have made the stakes, the less it ends up feeling like there are any stakes at all. Honestly, as fast as this fire spread, I can't believe it hasn't engulfed the whole house by now. Oh no, the bad guy has a knife super close to the hero's throat, and they're centimeters from stabbing him in the neck. I'm so worried. I've never seen this kind of conflict before. Ethan Hunt needs help taking down a single assailant with a knife. Jack Reacher could have done this on his own, and even also taken down 4 other guys at the same time.
Exactly the opposite, in case the Russians were listening.
Seems kind of short-sighted to think the Russians couldn't figure this out also. Maybe since she's married to an American, they could have taught the dogs both this native language and English. And this movie could have been 2 minutes shorter. Just a thought. This whole submarine dive is just like the Halo jump from Fallout, but underwater. It also feels like we already kind of did this underwater thing in Rogue Nation. They're running out of ways for Tom Cruise's physical feats to impress you. It is a pretty cool shot to have him open the airlock. Waterlock? To see a Russian sub tailing this American sub, but that Russian sub is way too fucking close. For a movie that is ripping off The Hunt for Red October as much as this one is, it didn't pay any attention to the parts of that movie that talked about how hard it is to slow or stop a submarine. All the Americans here have to do is stop, and the Russian sub will 100% definitely crash into them, probably crippling both subs. But there is no reason for one sub to tail another this closely. Torpedoes won't even arm at this distance, and if you take off the arming safety and let it launch already armed, you will also be exploded in the ensuing explosion of the sub you are chasing. Anyway, it's a cool shot. The sub is now rolling and also appears to be at the edge of a trench or cliff. And I just don't think this franchise can resist taking a legitimately hard accomplishment and unnecessarily making it exponentially more difficult, thereby making the eventual success less believable. It's like these movies are being made by From Software. The nukes are now falling and floating and going all willy-nilly. It's terrifying-ish. I mean, I think you know at this point that I'm not scared on his behalf anymore. I wish I could at least get a tiny bit anxious, like I actually cared about any of these characters, but I don't. So I don't. Oh yeah, and if I forgot to mention this, Ethan survives this. I believe the movie itself thinks this is a sin too, so kinda surprised that the character known as being a pickpocket is fully trained in CPR. Wait, when did these two fall in love?
How can we undo everything the entity has done?
Have you considered shooting Ethan out of a supersonic cannon into a reverse orbit that causes the Earth to rotate backwards and reset the day?
If we can control it.
Guys, you keep talking about the entity like it's the One Ring, and I guess that's sort of the point, but if you're going to do that, you need to give me a Gollum, or Caesar, or Richard Nealon. You know, any of the characters Andy Serkis has done motion capture for in the past if you want me to get interested.
Who on earth would you ever trust with that much power?
She's going to say, you, Ethan, and then I'm going to vomit.
Well, you, of course.
Thank you.
No, seriously, when did these two fall in love? Did we just skip the scene of them actually going to bed together and jump straight to them waking up together? The f*** is going on? That's the same knife from the first movie. He kept that knife. Wait, he was allowed to keep that knife? Wait, that knife wasn't evidence? Also, tell me, at what point did Donloe remember to go get that knife when the cabin was burning down? Or is this movie saying he always carries that around with him?
It's a top-secret, standalone, solar-powered, Tempest-hardened, Level A, exabyte data server.
That all sounds super impressive, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. That place sounds fucking fierce. If I were the entity, I too would wait until I was in this place to fire all the nukes. But you said, I think you said solar-powered in there somewhere? And we are looking at a nuclear winter. So whatever amount of power is currently stored in this place's batteries, it's finite if there's no more sunshine, right?
What does it stand to gain from wiping out all life on Earth?
A question Noah and his family must have asked just before the flood.
The anti-god thinks it's God.
Anyway, the reason isn't really all that important. There's no satisfying answer, so we won't come up with one.
When combined, they will form a sort of digital toxin. When uploaded to cyberspace, this toxin will attack the entity and alter its ability to perceive reality.
None of what you just said makes any kind of sense, and yet the entire finale is going to be built off of it, and I'm scared.
We don't have Luther's poison pill.
And despite the fact that we now have Donloe and me here, we can't possibly build another one. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep hammering this point. It's total bullshit.
It's a 5D optical data drive.
You are a very stupid and cocky movie that thinks its cockiness will cover up its stupidness, but you are cockily and stupidly wrong.
The entity will initiate a nuclear launch. We have to disconnect this drive before it can do that.
How long do we have?
100 milliseconds.
After the nuclear bombs and fallout and everyone needing to be in the same place at the same time to save Ethan in this one, I'm officially exhausted of these missions requiring simultaneous actions being the go-to complication in these movies.
If the Doomsday Vault is electronically shielded, how does the entity expect to get in?
It expects us to let it in.
You'll notice that Ethan doesn't answer the question here, and the movie gets sidetracked right after. The point Grace was making is, how the f does the entity get into an electronically shielded fortress? And absolutely no one explains how this will happen in a scene absolutely stuffed with exposition. I guess Ethan and his crew stole these cars after landing that plane wherever they landed. That's not really important. What puzzles me is why they didn't just fly the plane to the Doomsday Vault, especially since Gabriel has a wide open place just outside the area where he plans to escape with a plane. They could have, at the very least, flown over the place to assess the situation and possibly sabotage Gabriel's planes in the process. The point is, with time being a factor, I'm surprised someone didn't say, hey, look at this area close to the Doomsday Vault. Perfect for landing a plane. We won't have to waste time stealing cars and driving out to the sticks to find this place.
Obviously, the bombing of major cities in 8 different countries would create an unprecedented political crisis.
It's weird he's worried about a political response to nuking 8 entity-controlled countries rather than, the entity responding in kind with nukes of its own, which is what would happen, and goddamn, the people that advise the president are dumb fucks.
A gesture. Sacrifice one of our cities here at home.
Oh, I see someone has seen Failsafe.
You'd be sacrificing 100 million lives to save 7 billion.
Oh, I see someone has seen Watchmen.
Gunnery Sergeant, I need your sidearm.
Movie will go out of its way to make you think General Sidney is going to pull a gun on the president later, only to find out that he's only acquiring this gun in case someone else does it. I assure you, movie, you would have been just fine without this scene and this subterfuge.
Your final reckoning.
We've already had a roll credits moment, thank you very much.
Tell me I win.
When winning isn't enough, but you have to hear that you've won from the person you defeated, you are a tiny dick energy person. Enjoy your tiny dick. I genuinely do not know who is shooting at whom here. It's just gunfire for the sake of making all the main characters hide and be sneaky.
Paris! Gabriel, now! Kill him now!
And of course, Paris's gun jams or runs out of bullets, and frankly, I'm kind of shocked that he doesn't tell the whole crew to shoot at Gabriel right now instead of being so dedicated to Paris's revenge. Time is not a factor, group hug. Honestly, if this film spends any more time underground, I'm going to start confusing it with Total Recall. As Ethan runs to go catch Gabriel, I have a lot of questions about the layout of this place. If you remember, when Ethan and crew got here, they went to this entrance that was blocked off by a bunch of crates and shit. I suppose Gabriel's men could have blocked this entrance to ensure Ethan couldn't surprise them with any vehicles, ensuring that everyone had to walk in. However, now that we see Ethan running out this passageway, I'm wondering why they couldn't have tried this one instead. The movie made it seem like there was only one entrance, considering their drive here seemed to give them limited options. And if this is the same entrance, then it should be blocked off by this vehicle on the left, and we should see at least 2 other parked cars here. Holy shit, what kind of limbo did Ethan have to pull to get flat on the ground and be able to grab this bar in the time he had? And if Tom Cruise could pull this off, they'd want to show it in the film. Also, I guess we're just going to redo Fallout at this point. Why not? It was an extremely popular film, as I recall. Let's end one of the most high-tech franchises of all time with an old-school biplane chase. Brilliant! Somewhere between the 4th and 5th movie in this franchise, Tom Cruise decided that the entire series was about him risking his life with stupid stunts. And for a while, it seemed he was right. But he was wrong. Why in the f*** are these assholes flying so close to the canyon walls?
Do either of you have any medical experience?
Funny, I was halfway expecting Grace to say yes, since she knew CPR earlier.
First, I need you to plug the bullet hole, make it airtight.
Jeez, if Benji knew how to do this, why wasn't he the person giving CPR to Ethan earlier? It's because they wanted to make the CPR sexy, isn't it? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 more. The bloody red baron was rolling up the score.
A silver box with 2 lights on it. We need to splice that into the server's solar panels and make an antenna. That way we'll know when Ethan's uploading the poison pill.
I don't think the movie really cares about how all this works, and so we get a half-dying Benji explaining it here and not very well. Anyway, we were told that the Doomsday Vault is impenetrable to electronic signals, and I guess this receiver and antenna is supposed to bypass that, but the how of it is never clear. I guess we should have known we weren't going to get an explanation when they couldn't even bother telling anyone how it was going to work back on the plane. Furthermore, how the entity is supposed to use any of this to get inside the Doomsday Vault is also unclear, but Benji says receiver and antenna, and I guess that's good enough for this film. Also, while it's been explained, I don't know how mixing the poison pill with the entity's source code does anything here, unless the movie is saying the entity derives all of its power from the Podkova, and it's been infecting cyberspace from underwater in a submarine this whole time, which it hasn't, because Benji specifically said that the entity couldn't reach the Podkova while it was down in the submarine. When they retrieved the Podkova, did the evolved entity jump into it and commingle with its original source code? What the f***? Movie that explains everything somehow also explains nothing.
Amended to include the American city you've chosen to sacrifice.
I mean, we don't have to say which city it is. You know which one it is. I know which one it is. Besides, that would be rude. No one will be woken up from their nap while the movie spends too much time on a half-assed challenge to President Angela Bassett's authority. We've seen several people in this movie acting on the entity's behalf, and I still don't think I am quite sold on its influence in the world yet. And the movie has told us repeatedly how much the entity has burrowed into everyday life, but it's never felt like anything palpable once in this movie.
Then, you're gonna cut that red wire and let the entity in.
And I guess that red wire is the entire base's defense against electronic signals? I mean, goddamn, man. I would have accepted almost anything for an explanation how this works. I would have sent it too, probably, but I wouldn't have been so mad about it.
All we need now is for Ethan to get that pill.
He'll figure it out.
I mean, the whole ending to this movie is basically Fallout. Not just the planes at the end, but the whole endgame. This is a pretty spectacular stunt, and yet it all takes so long, I'm kind of wishing this movie would end already.
Only one of us has a parachute!
This might be the most curious line said in a movie in 2025. And remember, a Minecraft movie came out this year. Either Gabriel doesn't remember there's a second parachute, or he doesn't think Ethan can get back into the plane for some reason. Anyway, it makes no sense at all, and it should have been dubbed into something like, only one of us has a parakeet. Well, it would have made more sense than what Gabriel said. The movie tries to make us think Ethan doesn't have a backup parachute, and Ethan will not pull it for the rest of the time we see him falling because he knows there's an audience.
A destiny that touches every living thing.
Especially these goats. Why the f*** does Admiral Neely crumple the May 22 letter up? Is it just not dramatic if she doesn't? Briggs got his weapons training from Lieutenant Harper and Plan 9 from outer space. Hey guys, after our mission is over, let's all go to Trafalgar Square to meet up and look at each other knowingly. I've thought about this long and hard, and I believe the glowing thing in the box is Marcellus Wallace's soul.
Does the Talisman Palace have the pellet with the poison?
No, the pellet with the poison's in the vessel with the pestle.
Oh. Michael, are you okay?
We talked about this.
Ethan wants him alive.
I don't want neutral, I want dead.
You know, when I dreamt about being stuck on a deserted planet with a gorgeous woman, there was no torpedo.
Again, you know this place.
The Doomsday Vault, South Africa.
You will meet the entity there.
Someone you hold close will die tonight.
Luther, I saw a city in the clouds.
Friends you have there.
They were in pain.
Champion. Out of danger.
Sir! Good luck!
People insist on calling it luck.
Night of the fight, you may feel a slight sting.
I like this ship!
You know, it's exciting.
Wake up, sir!
On your feet, maggots!
Wait a minute, Scully. What's the point of this test?
No point. I just thought he could stand to lose a little weight.
Devour feculence. It means eat shit. But we have to stick together.
Sticking together is what good waffles do.
I thought you'd never leave.
Ethan.
Madam President.
The entity will be fueling its missiles by now.
They're fueling their missiles! We don't have time to f*** around!
You know it doesn't work. It never did.